Welcome to another episode of the Empowerment School, where we're making empowerment a daily habit. This is the show where you learn the art and science of empowerment. Yes, no woo-woo fluff stuff. We're showing you step by step how to be empowered. All right, guys, I'm your host, NLP practitioner and empowerment guy, Monish. Today, what we're going to be talking about is proactivity, the concept of proactivity. So let's get right into it. Okay, so this is the thing. How can you tell when someone's not being proactive? What are some of the symptoms in your life? And how can we sort of take proactivity and learn from it, right? So when you're not being proactive, usually what happens is people sort of blame circumstances, their conditions, or their own conditioning, my genetics or something like that, right? So you'll see people start blaming other people, or they'll be blaming, my luck and all this other stuff. Super negative, man. So that's like, when you're a negative Nancy, that's what the kind of stuff you do, right? So don't be a negative Nancy. Be a positive Polly or a proactive Polly or something like that. Yeah, that was really corny, I know. But anyways, dude, so this is the thing, right? When you're feeling like a victim, when you're feeling helpless, you got to catch yourself. You know, a lot of times you start being all like, oh, man, I hate how she did this, or, oh, he's so annoying, he does this, or my boss, oh, I can't stand it. You know, that's when you're being a victim. You know, you're just being someone who's being reactive to that other person. So the way that I like to see it is you're being sort of the response. Something else is being the stimulus, okay? That's one of the cool things is like, you are the stimulus in your life. You know, you go out there and, that's where you're making an impact. Other people respond to you, right? So that's what we want everyone to be. We want everybody to be the stimulus, if you want to see it that way. There's no winners or losers. Okay, so this is the thing, right? When you are not being proactive, you're being driven by feelings, circumstances, conditions, environment, rather than your own values. Okay, that's a huge one. All right, that's, you're driven by your emotions. Something happens, all of a sudden you freak out. Like, oh, what do I do? Oh, I can't believe that thing happened to me. So you want to be, and I'll go into this, you want to not be that way. You want to be proactive. You want to respond to your environment. Okay. And you'll start seeing that you'll start using reactive language, like, oh, how can that happen? Or how, that's not possible, or no, we can't do that. Right. So a lot of this negative language is reactive language, like, oh man, he sucks, or he does this. A lot of complaining is just reactive language. Okay. So we want to make sure that you're a proactive person, because a proactive person is an empowered person. So let's start defining what is proactivity exactly. And I'm sure you kind of got it through contrast here. I wrote up for you the symptoms. So if you find yourself doing anything, let's figure out, okay, what is proactivity? Let's get into that. Proactivity, I found a definition online. There was a lot of them I didn't like. Proactivity was this, okay? It says tending to initiate change rather than reacting to events. That's the Collins English Dictionary definition. That's the one I like. Tending to initiate change rather than reacting to events. Okay. So I like how he said initiating change, right? Tending means that you're making an effort, right? So I like that, rather than reacting to events. So what else? I think that definition is okay. It's good. But here I came up with my own definition. So for those of you listening, listen up to this, okay? My definition is this: focusing on what you can do and taking actions to better your situation, rather than focusing on what's not possible and expecting others to change the situation. Okay? That could be expecting other people to change the situation, other conditions, okay? Waiting and sitting. Okay? A proactive person focuses on what they wanted to do, okay? If you guys ever watched the movie The Departed, that's actually a really good example. So in The Departed, even though it's like, I think the villain guy is Jack Nicholson, and he's kind of crazy, right? He's confident, but in the negative sense. And we'll talk about that in later episodes, right? But this guy said something very cool. And we can appreciate when people we don't like, or the villains in movies, or people in our lives which we don't like, we can appreciate their wisdom as well. And he says this in the opening scene of the movie. He starts with, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. And dude, that is such a good summary of proactivity. Okay, let me read that again for you. I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. And I was like, oh man, I love actually watching movies and getting these little tidbits and lessons. That makes me kind of a nerd, empowerment nerd, but I love it. So when you hear something like this, remember that, right? You want to be the stimulus, and other things respond to you. This is your life, okay? And you're going to take responsibility. That's what a proactive person does. So let's talk about proactivity a little bit more, the model. Okay, so we want to figure out what's the structure of proactivity. How can you tell if you're not being proactive? So Stephen Covey, he's like one of my favorite empowerment guys, rest in peace. He created the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You can find information about him on stephencovey.com, I believe. Either stephencovey.com or Dr. Stephen Covey, one of the two. But this is his model, and it explains really well how to be proactive. He starts with this concept called the circle of concern. Okay? Imagine things in your life happening, like when we're talking about, circumstances. Issues come up in life, okay? So imagine, right? You get in a car accident, okay? Wow, that's a big thing. You are concerned about that, right? You get in a car accident. A lot of it's out of your control. You get hit by another car. There's things like the weather. How the weather is going to be is outside of your control, okay? When a car hits you, that's outside of your control, okay? But if you keep on focusing on the accident, if you keep on focusing on, how shitty the weather is, or how poor you that, you got hit by a car and now you have to do all this stuff, and the insurance company's doing this to me, and this person's doing this to me, and I can't believe it, and my wife, why did she let me go out today, and all this other stuff. You're putting all your focus on things outside of your control. Okay? Other people are not in your control. What other people do or say, you can try to influence them, and then we'll get into that, but really their actions are their own. Okay? Things happen, man. Things happen. But this is what you want to focus on instead of, the stuff that you can't do anything about. What you want to focus on is your circle of influence. And within any circle of concern, there's a circle of influence. Good example, let's say you want to get into a good university, you're a college student, okay? Your circle of concern, dude, I need to get into a good school, I need to apply. Circle of influence is, okay, well, how am I going to do that? What can I do? Instead of focusing on how stressful it's going to be and, oh man, the schools are so competitive and I don't know if I'm going to get into a good school. And if I don't get into a good school, I'm going to, fail in life. And I can't believe my dad didn't take me to SAT tutoring. And I'm such a, oh no, you freak out, right? Instead of doing that, focus on your circle of concern or circle of influence, sorry. What can you influence? What can you do? So you want to take a look at, all right, well, maybe I can start studying, right? I'll study every day, okay? Maybe I can start tag teaming with another friend and we'll partner together and study. Or hey, maybe I need to start taking a look at the universities. Which university do I really want to get into? Maybe their requirements aren't that much, okay? So in the beginning, I mentioned something about, proactive people being value-based, okay? Rather than conditions or the environment and circumstances defining your behavior and your reaction, rather than that, you respond. And you respond based on values. So it's very cool, okay? So people who actually focus on their circle of influence more and more and more, what happens to the circle of concern? It shrinks. And pretty soon what happens is the circle of influence sort of takes over the entire circle. Okay, it's a model of baby steps. Okay, if you look at something and you get overwhelmed by it, you're really kind of being reactive. Instead, focus on what you can do. This happens to me a lot, by the way, to be honest. There's so many things I want to do for this website, for the empowerment school, for helping you guys. Oh my God, there's so many things I want to do in my life. And when I think about that, I get overwhelmed and I start freaking out, okay? And I start becoming reactive. And I start feeling like, oh man, I wish, I had gone to business school or gone and done this thing or done that thing, okay? Instead, you want to just calm down, okay? And focus on what you can do, okay? So let's, I wanted to share a few quotes by Stephen Covey. He is awesome, like I said, and it's going to paint a really good picture again. It says here, reactive people are often affected by their physical environment. If the weather is good, they feel good. If it isn't, it affects their attitude and their performance. Proactive people can carry their own weather with them. How many people have you heard who are just like, oh no, there's a new boss coming in. Oh my God, what do we do? Oh man, it's going to be all rainy. It's going to suck, man. What a gloomy day. Or, oh no, there's traffic. Because there's traffic, now it's just like, I'm going to be late. Nothing's good going to happen to me. Okay? Proactive people carry their own weather with them. Okay, they don't empower things outside of their control. Instead, they focus on things they can do. Okay, and they are responsible for their own weather, their own attitude, their own feelings, everything. Okay, so, and we'll get into that. Next quote I have for you guys, and this is also by Stephen Covey. He says, when reactive people are treated well, they feel well. When people don't treat them well, they become defensive or protective. Reactive people build their emotional lives around the behavior of others, empowering the weaknesses of other people to control them. Wow, that is such a good quote, right? So it says, reactive people build their emotional lives around the behavior of others, empowering the weaknesses of other people to control them. This happens a lot. I see this happen so much. Reactive people basically say that, okay, well, hey, someone else is responsible. The new boss comes in, he doesn't like what I'm doing, he's being mean to me. Or, hey, oh, this person did this thing to me, okay? They basically build their emotional stability around other people. If that person is happy, they're happy. If that person's not happy and treating them poorly, they're not going to be happy. It's very conditional. Okay, do you notice that? So, empowered people, and it also says here, when reactive people are treated well, they feel well. And when reactive people are not treated well, they become defensive or protective. That is really, really amazing. That's like the Zen of empowerment. Okay, it's more like, dude, I don't need anybody's approval. I carry my own weather with me. If there's layoffs tomorrow at work, maybe I'm affected a little bit, but I am not, crying in the streets or something, rolling around in my bed, whining like a big baby. All right. And it doesn't mean that they don't feel or anything like that. They're just value-based, okay? And that's what the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talks about. If you haven't read that book, read it. I always give a call out for that because it's great. But, you're value-based, man. You're not someone who's just like, oh, what does so-and-so think? And, oh, that person said this and this person said that. That's being reactive, man. So what you want to do is you want to be someone proactive. So let's talk about some of the characteristics of proactive people. It's very important that you're aware of this and you get the distinctions that I'm talking about. I always talk about this. One new thought or idea can radically change your life. Okay, so if you understand very clearly what proactivity means, that's going to make a huge difference. Okay, so characteristics of proactive people. Proactive people respond to a situation rather than react. Okay, response rather than reaction. Stimulus rather than response. Okay, actually that was kind of confusing. Okay, stimulus and response, it's kind of like stimulus and reaction. Anyways, but yeah, proactive people respond to a situation rather than react. Okay, proactive people are being a cause in the matter of their life. They're being a cause, they're being a force, they're going to do something about a situation. Okay, proactive people are the people that built bomb shelters. You might laugh at them now, but yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on in the world. Okay, they might have been more proactive, maybe if they did some more research or, those uncertain times, but they wanted to protect their family. Proactive people are the people that buy pepper spray. They say, okay, well, hey, or alarm systems. Okay, well, hey, yeah, I know my neighborhood's good, but I still feel concerned about it. I feel uncomfortable. I'm going to do something about it. They don't let, things kind of sit there. Okay, they actually put the energy and effort into solving their problems and issues. Like I said, they have a circle of concern, and what they do is they practice expanding their circle of influence. They do what they can. Okay. So really, the core of a proactive person is that they take responsibility. One of the reasons I wanted to do this episode is because proactivity is like the cornerstone. It's one of the big fundamentals of empowerment. I'm going to be talking about proactivity all the time and what it takes to be a proactive person. So just know that responsibility is huge. And we're going to go into how powerful taking responsibility is later on, and why, and how and why empowered people actually take a lot of responsibility and put the effort out there to be proactive. Doing nothing and just complaining all the time takes zero energy whatsoever. But a proactive person is like, dude, okay, I'm going to do something about this. Let's come up with a plan. Let's solve this problem. Let's do something. So that's what the next set of characteristics are, is that proactive people take initiative. Okay, they feel highly responsible for their life, and they focus on what they can do about a situation. Okay, so that's very key. They take initiative. They put that extra energy in. Look at this. Another thing is that proactive people, like I mentioned before, they may get affected by a situation. Bad things happen to us all the time. Empowered person does feel emotions. They do feel like, oh man, that sucked, okay? But rather than just being in those feelings, just keep on whining, like I said, they basically respond to a situation, and that response leads to a value-based choice. Okay, so again, they're responding based on their values. Okay, this thing happened. Yeah, that sucks. They wallow in it maybe for a little bit. They get, we're human beings. We have emotions. And then they say, okay, well, what am I going to do based on my values, right? I'm not just going to react to this. I'm going to respond based on my values. What can I do about this? And what do I want to do about this? Okay, not what do other people think about it and all this other stuff. No, what do I want to do about it? I operate from values. Another thing is that proactive people have a strong belief that their environment is a product of your choices, not that you're a product of your environment. Again, back to the departed idea. Very, very cool, right? So that they believe that their environment is a product of their choices. Okay, they have some say in the matter. They have some way to actually make an impact. So here's some coaching for me as well. I mean, I've been coaching and giving a lot of advice about proactivity. I've been teaching you guys this thing. But here's some general tips that I catch day to day for myself. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, he or she is so reactive, or he or she is XYZ. Okay, and this is an example. He or she is so reactive, or I'm being so reactive. No, people are not reactive. That's just a general label. They're reactive in a certain situation. Okay, it's very specific. Okay, so even take a look at yourself. You say, oh yeah, I was being reactive. Well, no, be easy on yourself, okay? No, you were being reactive in that situation, so you need to work on that situation, okay? And maybe working on that situation will carry over so that you're a more proactive person, okay? And then, in fact, listen to my language. The next thing I'm going to talk about is how I speak and how you should start speaking too. If you start saying, oh no, I want to be a proactive person, Monish, I want to be proactive. No, man, you already are proactive, okay? There's a lot of areas of your life. You have work starting at 9 o'clock. You leave early. That's being proactive, right? So what you want to say instead is you want to be a more proactive person. And we'll talk about these things more, words like more or yet. I'm not empowered yet or something like that. So those allow for sort of possibility, okay? So you want to be more proactive person. Great. So in review, let's take a look. Proactive people focus on what they can do, their circle of influence. Proactive people know that being proactive is a muscle. They work on it all the time. Okay, they take the courage to take that step. Okay, it requires taking responsibility rather than blaming others or waiting or blaming the environment or circumstances. No, you are going to take charge of circumstances. You're going to be the master of your destiny. That's a proactive person. All right, so this is the Empowerment School. Thank you guys for listening. This is the last thing I want to do. I started introducing this new segment. I want to give you guys an assignment. Every time you listen to a video or watch this video or listen to the podcast, I want to give you an assignment. This is a school, all right? Your life is not something to take lightly. This is your life. Work on where you need to work on, okay? So this is the assignment. Look at your life, and if you find there's places where you feel helpless or where you're being reactive, where you're feeling stuck, ask what you can do about your situation and take the first step, okay? Take the first step. A lot of baby steps add up so that you can become, to have some sort of handle on your circle of concern, okay? Well, that's it for today. I'm your host, your coach, your friend, whatever you want to call me, the Empowerment Guy, Monish. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. This is in multiple formats. You might have picked that up, but we have this in multiple formats, YouTube channel. Please go to www.theempowermentschool.com for more empowering videos. I would absolutely love if you spent some time there just learning. I want you to be empowered, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode a lot. And leave any comments you have in on the website, and just let me know what's going on. How are you being proactive? How are you dealing with the situation? Has this really helped you? I want to hear from you. So thank you so much. Enjoy the video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay empowered. This is Monish. Bye, guys.